Welcome to the channel. This is Go Gretty, and welcome to the 2023-2024 Gran Turismo World Series Exhibition Season. It is Nations, and it is the final round. And yes, it is another meme race. This time, we are at Daytona, and I'm telling you, I'm excited. Can I go back to back? You have to stick around. Check it out. All right, lobby opens up once again. I got to tell you what, I really like this lobby. Bunch of familiar names and, well, names, not faces, but lots of familiar names, people that I practiced with a lot, have raced with a lot over the past. So, man, I tell you what, when I saw these names popped up, I immediately relaxed. As you know what, I really enjoy racing with pretty much all of these guys, without exception. I honestly, in this room, I can't think of anyone in here that I'd be like, man, that person is just really dirty. So this should be a really fun race. No one's going to be out to kill each other in this. If anything happens, more likely than not, it will simply be a mistake or some kind of lag hit or anything like that. So, you know, again, no ill intentions from anyone. No one who's going to purposely just run you off the track because there's some huge jerk or something like that. So, I mean, what more can you ask for? Especially in a meme race where you're all going to be ramming into each other the whole race anyway. So, one of the most important things here at Daytona and in these slipstream races to start out front. The reason it's nice to start out front is you don't have to push to try and get to the front. And when you're in the middle of the pack, things get pretty squirrely. So very important to get a good qualifying lap in these races. And it's really hard to do that because you're just going in a circle. So it's like, how do you really do a better job than anyone else? I studied the fastest lap time. I watched it. It wasn't like I was taking notes. But I watched what he did, and then I tried to just replicate it a few times. And after about 30 minutes or so messing around with it, I was able to get into the top 100 in the world with my lap time. I was sitting around 56 for most of the week with my time. I think it fell down throughout the week to a little further down the list, but not too far. So here at Daytona, it's really odd, but the fastest way around the track is the shortest line. Now, that's typically the case in autocross where you have slow speeds and you don't have any camber anywhere on the track. The shortest, fastest line is gonna win you a race in a parking lot race. At Daytona, you have a big, huge bank over here to the right. Like, you should be on that. You should be faster on the banking. But in GT7, for whatever reason, you are not. You are faster on the apron. So you want to stick your tire here on the yellow line, and you want to follow that yellow line with the right tire no matter what. You do not want to be on the banking at all. You see I'm slightly on the banking. Now, the reason on this first hot lap I was on the banking was I know that my third lap is going to be my fastest lap, so I did not want a penalty. As you can see, I'm picking up time here. I'm about 600ths off of V-Rod there, and about 800ths off of Lisa Salters. So I'm not too concerned because I know I can run a 51.1 in the DBR9. I did it in practice several times before the race. So I knew if I just ran the proper line, I'd be able to get in front of them and get up near pole or on pole. I want to start in the top three is really what I want to do. So this is the lap that really counts. So I wanted to get to this lap without a penalty. And this is the one. This is the third hot lap. This is where the RPM of the DBR9 is up all the way. You've carried some speed out of these last corners. How you can carry speed by taking a super narrow line, I have no idea. You should be coming down off the bankment, making a run down the hill. But that is not the case. You have to keep a tight line. You're going to continue to pick up speed. So you see I'm ahead of my time here as we head towards corner number 2. I want to keep my tire on this yellow line through this corner. And as you can see, I'm very steady here. I'm not wiggling back and forth, not getting up onto the embankment. I'm just dead on the yellow line with my right tire. That's what you need to do for a fast lap here at Daytona. Now, you want to kind of release the steering wheel as you come out of that corner. You don't want a lot of turning on the wheels there. It will slow you down a little bit. As we come across the line, I go into pole by 700ths. I'm like, that's perfect. It's at 51.2. I don't really need to go any faster. If anyone takes me for pole, not a big deal. But I really took a chance there on this last lap. I went way left and it really had a nice entrance into corner 1. It got onto the skirting a little bit, but I could tell I was carrying good speed. As you can see, I'm nearly up by a full 10th as I'm heading towards corner 2. And the reason was that the first jut in where you tend to swerve around, I cut it straight, and then I carried that speed into the corner. And you can see I carried that all the way to corner number 2. And really all I need is a decent corner 2. I mean, I'm up by a full tenth almost, and I will, improve my time. Had actually a pretty poor corner 2 there as I was getting up on to the embankment a little too much. And then we come around the final, keep it tight here. You want to shorten that distance and cross the line. Lost a half a tenth there after corner 2, but hey, that puts me as a 51.168, and that is probably going to hold up for pole position. We only have this final lap to find out. So again, I might be able to improve my time here. So I'm like, well, I'll just stay with it. Again, got to keep that right tire on that yellow line. Some people were trying to straddle the yellow line. It's not gonna work. You won't be fast enough. You can try, to the right of the yellow line. You're just gonna be slower. You can try going up high on the bank and carry speed all throughout the course to start your lap. That didn't work either. That should work. You should be able to run this high line and pick up a lot of speed, and then dive down in at the start-finish line and carry more speed down the straight. But for whatever reason, this tight line held the most speed. Don't ask me why. I have no clue. It shouldn't be that way. But did not pick up any time on the last lap, but landed in pole position to start the race, as you will see here when everyone finally crosses the line. Go, Gretty. Picking up pole here in the meme race. Started stage, special stage Route X in 5th or 6th place, I think it was. So keeping my track record here at the ovals alive at starting up front and giving myself a good opportunity to be in the race there near the end. I've had a lot of luck getting wins here at these oval tracks. That's why I want to kind of explain. I probably took a little longer than I normally would with this video because there's not a ton of action, but there's a lot of things going on. So there it is. Go Gretty, P1. And then we've got Lead Sled there in P2, only about a tenth back, and behind him, Lisa Salters rounding out the top 3 to start the race. Now, before I get started on talking about all the things that I do, I don't like the fact that we can't practice the exact race in the lobbies, because at the start of this race you have cold hard tires. I have no idea if I'm going to lose the rear end starting this. It's happened before where you start the race with cold tires and the back end kind of comes around you, so I don't know if I need to be in traction control or anything like that to start the race. So I was a little nervous there when the race started as the F-18s fly over. Absolutely cool looking. It would be nice if I could practice these exact settings in a lobby. Plus, it's just fun. I think it's fun. I mean, these races tend to turn into a one-make race anyway, so it's just, I think it's fun. Even if you can practice a shorter version of them or whatever. I mean, 30 laps is a lot for a Daytona race. But it allows you to practice the things that I'm doing right now. So I started this race in Fuel Map 1 to make sure no one had a run at the beginning of the race and was going to try and get a big group of people up in front of me. So Fuel Map 1, as I head into the corners, I drop the fuel map towards 4 or a leaner mixture to make sure that Lead Sled is staying behind me. If you look in the upper left-hand corner there, you see I've got a gap of about 6-7 hundredths from Lead Sled. I really want that gap to be a tenth or less. And the reason for that is if you get a gap of 2 tenths or more, you can really get a good run on someone and actually make a pass on them. However, if you keep the gap between you and the guy behind you to a tenth or less, they can't make a run on you. Now, they can get up beside you, but they can't really make a good run on you. So you look at that mid-pack here and all the jostling and jockeying for position. I got a comment the other day that it's not jostling, it's jockeying. I know it's jockeying. You try and talk nonstop for 30 minutes to see if you don't make any mistakes. Anyway, so trying to keep that to less than a tenth to keep a run on me. And also it helps protect my wingman here, Lead Sled, from a run being put on him, because if they both come flying up on me and nail me from behind really hard, the person behind him can shoot out to the right at the last second, actually get by both of us. So it's really kind of protecting both of us. It decreases the severity of the impact between the two cars as well. So I am watching this upper left-hand corner here, watching the distance between me and Lead Sled. As someone picks up a 2-second penalty here on lap 3, it is Jeff Pearman. Oh, that is not good. Let's go back and see what happened to Jeff there. So as we come around on lap 2, corner number 1, he actually just goes out a little wide. Just a little bump there. Mr. S. Wiggled a little too far out right, and Pearman got underneath him, and he got pushed off the track a little bit. Picks up a 2-second penalty for that. I thought since he got bumped off, he wouldn't get the penalty. So a little surprised to see he got that penalty, even though someone bumped him off to the left there. But I mean, that's a terrible break. As that's basically the end of his race already on lap number 3. Now, you'll see here, Rodriguez makes a run around the outside. The problem being that I didn't recognize that early enough. So what I'm wanting to do is I'm keeping my eye on my rearview mirror. I'm keeping my eye on the distance between me and P2. I'm keeping my eye on my fuel map. And what I want to do is if I see someone make a run along the outside, I drop the fuel map to 1. I get a nice bump from P2, and they're not able to make the run around me because it's such a long distance around the outside, and you don't go any faster in this upper right-hand line. So you can't get around me if I drop it to fuel map 1. So for the most part, I'm staying at fuel map 3, 2, trying to get into 4, 5, 6 if at all possible, but I'm ready to drop it in 1 at the drop of a hat because they've got to leave it in 1 for a long time, and they've got to get a lot of help to get around the outside. So again, not boring because now I've got to watch my rearview mirror, I've got to watch my gap to P2, and I've got to watch my fuel. So I'm doing a lot of things while I'm driving around here. Plus, I'm trying to be a good lead car or a good wingman and be a steady target for the guy behind me, not swerving all over the place, not bouncing all over the place. Trying to give Lead Sled a really nice target to hit so he can stay in position and not swerve all over the place and maybe cause like what you saw happen with Jeff where someone pops out of line and you get under their rear bumper. Now we're all watching our fuel, so no one has their radar on. So you got to realize that as well. We can't really see what is going on. So on lap 5 here, you see almost 3 wide as we head down through corner 1 there. People trying to move up in the field, trying to get into position as we ride along in that cinematic view with Mr. L. Lewandowski. Andre Sav coming up on him there. Some pretty big bumps there. Things you got to be careful of, especially if you get a little bit of lag in these lobbies. And sometimes these big bumps can really turn into large impacts or get damage to your car. You fly out, you go off the track and spin out. Look at this. Almost again 3 wide as we head towards the start-finish line. I was a little curious why Rodriguez in front of me was going out wide right. So you see he keeps going out wide right there. I'm like, why are you going out wide right? I was fine being in P2. P2 is actually the preferred position here as you can make a run on P1 in the final corner. And if you stick with P1 and he sticks with you the entire race, really it's very difficult to get by them. Lead Sled is wearing out my back bumper, and I can tell he is content with sticking with me. And so I said, you know what? Yeah, he's going to be my wingman. I can sense that he's okay with just staying by me. He hasn't tried to jump out of line, jump in with Rodriguez, or do anything like that to get by me. He knows P2, P3 is really the premier position to be in near the end of the race anyway. So he's perfectly content to save fuel right behind me, wear out my back bumper. So I'm going to give him that opportunity. And so what doesn't make this race boring is I have got to calculate my fuel because I know that to run an entire lap at fuel map 1, I need 4% plus, just 4% plus fuel per lap. So around 4.1, 4.2% is safety margin there. Will allow me to just full throttle at the end of the race. So I need to save fuel. I need to protect Lead Sled from getting run over, run by. So I have to make sure that I'm pulling him along enough that no one can make a really good run on him. So I'm having to monitor that rear view mirror. I'm having to look in there. I'm looking for people jumping out of line because I want to make sure Lead Sled is going to be able to continue to push me. As you know, if you find a good wingman, you got to stick with him and you got to protect him and you got to save him if they're going to be hung out to dry. So that's what I'm prepared to do. Like right now, I'm in fuel map 4. No one's making a run. I'm looking at my rearview mirrors. I don't see one popping out. So I'm like, okay, I can save a little extra fuel here. My goal, I want to get that 4% extra. I want to have, I want to have about 40% fuel at with 10 laps to go. That's my goal. That's my goal. So I'm going to save fuel. So now in the back of the pack here with Ninja Bar, as you can see, Lewandowski gets popped out of line there. That's that big hit I'm telling you about. So that causes a lot of issues there. Now Andre's out to the right, and so this is when people tend to get spun out, run into the wall, that type of thing. And a lot of it has to do with these lag spikes that we get. It's a little frustrating that the server doesn't keep us, a little tighter in terms of where we actually are on the track as compared to what you can see that you are on the track. Don't ask me how all of that works. I have no clue. But I do know that those spikes can tend to make you come up very quickly on someone. Those larger hits causes the problems like you're seeing there. Also leaves poor Andre and out to dry there, but luckily Lewandowski looked like he fuel mapped off to let Andre back in front of him. Don't know if that's the case or not. Rodriguez out to the right there, getting hung out to dry. He's falling way back, and then look at that, popped again. Lewandowski just, man, I don't know if he's got a bad connection to the server or what, but look at this. He's just holding it straight and steady, and boom, look at that. Just gets just flies out of the line. Now he's coming back on. He has no idea that Eccles is there, but this is going to be unfortunate for Lewandowski. He's going to drop way back. He lost way too much speed on that hit. He popped out so hard. He hit the person in front of him so hard. He just lost a ton of speed. Probably has a little damage to the front end of the car or the back end too, so that's not helping his top end at all. So we do have 2 lines forming up there on lap number 9. And then you see something odd. Captain slowly just heads into the pits, just out of the blue. I'm like, what is he doing? I don't know if it was an accident because he doesn't change his tires. It doesn't appear that he got any fuel. So I'm like, what? Why would he go into? Maybe he did get fuel. I don't know. I didn't think to check, but maybe he did get some fuel. Did not appear he changed his tires, and I was just like, well, that's odd. So maybe he was going to do the one stop. He's going to see if he could win on the one stop. No telling. So he falls back. So we have now 3 people that have fallen back from the lead group. We have the 1 penalty. We have the 1 pit stopper, and then we have the 1 person who just got a weird lag spike and flew out of line. So back to the leaders here. Lead Sled, very content to ride my rear bumper, and he's doing an outstanding job of it. I don't know how he's fuel mapping. You can't see the fuel map in the replay, unfortunately, because I would love to see how Lead Sled is handling his fuel map in this situation, so I can tell you. But all I know is the hits that he's putting on me are not causing me, it's not disturbing my car at all. He's laying in really nice hits here. I'm guessing he's backing off the fuel mapping a little bit as he's about to lay the hit in. If I see myself pulling out away from him, I'm leaning out the fuel to pull him in a little bit tighter so I don't get too big of a gap there. Again, trying to maintain less than a 10th gap between me and Lead Sled. So nice line forming up there on lap number 14. People saving fuel, people looking for opportunities. You see someone popping out of line there, having a little look. But they jump back right into line. Let's have a look at the fuel here. As you can see, I'm sitting about 52, 53%, above the 50% mark here at the halfway point, which is good. I would guess I'm probably about maybe 50, 54 here. So then Lead Sled, identical fuel. Lead Sled is fuel mapping almost perfectly with me. So we're meshed pretty good there. Subdoka there, a lot of fuel, looking really good, as is Andre Sav. He's looking really good as well. Ninja Bar, a little less fuel there. He's a little light on the fuel. Aquas Ferrum, looking about like me, and Lead Sled. Rodriguez, he's struggling on the fuel as well with those runs he made. Plus, he got some damage. Pop, a little light on the fuel. He could probably use a little more fuel. As Boggs looks okay as well. P9, Vandel, he a hair light on fuel, but a little better than a few of the others there. Boggs looks really good on fuel. And let's see, Lisa Salter's probably our fuel champion right now, has the most fuel. So Lisa looks like he's saving up for an assault there at the end for sure. Again, I want to be on lap with 20, or rather 21, with about 4% per lap. Slipping back a little further, our guys that fell back, Lewandowski not looking so hot on fuel at all. Captain slowly looked great on fuel, and he's teamed up with Pierman, who had the penalty. They both look pretty good for fuel, but unfortunately for them, they're going to need to richen up their fuel mixture to be able to catch up to the lead group. So we'll see if they're able to do that at the end of the race. I'm not exactly running a blistering pace out front, so there is an opportunity for them to catch back up to the lead group. Problem is will they have any fuel left when they finally do? So on lap 21, this is the point where I want to have 40% fuel, and that is what I have. So I would like a little more. I would like to say 41 or 42, so I have a little buffer there. But 4% per lap, I know that I can make it around in fuel map 1. I'm in 6 because I'm just wanting to get that little bit extra. No one is assaulting the front right now, so I feel safe in that corner. Put it fuel map 6. Drop it back to 3 coming out of the corner because you're going to try and slingshot out around the corner and make the pass on the straight. It's very difficult to get by in the corner because you have to go such a greater distance to get around. So knowing that, that's when I leave my fuel at, is in the corners. Again, a lot of thinking going on here while I'm racing. I'm keeping Lead Sled within that 10th margin that I want to keep him in. My fuel is exactly where I want it to be, and right now I'm just keeping the pack together, trying to prevent runs. When you get these big gaps is when you get the big runs, because people can they can overspeed past you. They can make a run onto that gap. They can flip it down to fuel map 1. They can come flying up like a freight train and come zinging on by. So I want to keep the pack a little bit tight. Since I'm out front, that's an advantage to me, keeping everyone in the group together. And so I could even slow down the pace a little more if I wanted to, because now I've got enough fuel that I can defend against any assaults. I can go fuel map 1 right now and run the entire rest of the race. One thing that I am concerned about if I did do that was A, creating the big gap, and B, I don't know how much fuel Lead Sled has. So I want to make sure that I can keep my wingman with me all the way to the end of the race, because he is proven very reliable as a P2 driver, and I want to make sure that I'm pulling him along into at least a top 3 finish. If I abandon him, things could get ugly for me as well. As we're in this cinematic view here and the sun's finding his home there in the western sky, the view here at Daytona is absolutely stunning in the evening. Great job by GT7 with the weather and the skyline, the clouds and the stars. The sunsets are absolutely spectacular. Just love them. Just love them. So give me a moment there to pull that all in. So on to lap number 23, and I'm picking up the pace. I've got fuel map 1 now. I've got 7 laps to go. I've got Lead Sled there. He's right around that 10th and a half. He's okay. Like I said, I want to keep it under 2 tenths. So we're okay. We're both picking up the pace here. He looks like he's willing to pick up the pace with me, so I'm feeling good about his fuel. I'm hoping that he's got the fuel to be able to push hard, because what I want to do here is now I want to make sure that anyone who is trying to save fuel is going to have to waste a little bit to keep up with this. I've got enough. So I'm just going to pick up the pace, keep my eye in the rearview mirror, and keep Lead Sled right behind me. As you can see, we jump in here with Captain Slowly, who was back in 12th. Remember, he fell off. He's catching back up to Lisa Salters. It's like, I don't know if Lisa Salters backed off just to bring Captain Slowly back into the race or not. I have no idea. But he is now back into the race after the pit stop. So my seemingly very slow pace there. As you can see, those 51s, 52s. I really slowed down the pace a lot there, trying to keep the gaps small, keeping the pack together, and saving fuel so that I can have this really nice run here at the end. And now it's paying dividends. I'm in fuel map 3 right here. I see someone jump out to the right side, so I'm like, nope. Going to jump right back into fuel map 1, make them tuck back in. I don't want them, like I said, making that run. I want them to have to waste a lot of fuel to try and get up front to where they don't have that fuel on the last lap. Then we got another car popping out of line there. That was a close one. Didn't get a penalty, though. So I'm still confused why Jeff Pearman got a penalty there early in the race when he got bumped wide of that line. Could be where it was on the track. I don't know. Some people seem like if they get bumped wide and they come back in, everything's fine. Other people get bumped wide and they seem to get a penalty. So no real major threats towards the front. Everyone kind of staying in line. A few people peeking out, seeing they may want to test, but they seem to be popping right back into line. Now watch here on this corner. As you will see, Lead Sled gets a funny bump, goes out a little wide. So what I do is I move over to the right, make sure I save him, make sure I give him my slipstream. I don't want him to think that I'm not, with him. So I slung it out there to the right-hand side, came off the yellow line to make sure he maintained slip, and kept P3 from making any kind of run down the inside. Now P3 having a look to the outside, but having a look to the outside at the beginning of the corner is the wrong approach, if you ask me. Really should be trying to peek to the outside at the end of the corner and try and make a run down the straight. So you want to try and get the run going into the corner, and as you come out of the corner, you want to carry that overspeed coming down the straight. So you're going in a straight line. You've got the same distance as the cars in front of you, and then you try and get in front of them here before the corner. Right here is where you want to be slipping back into line after you make that pass. If you try to make the pass here at the beginning of the corner, you've got to go the longer distance than the inside line driver. So you got to try to set up your run to where you have got maximum speed when you're coming out of the corner. On to lap number 28, maintaining P1. Now the pace is really picked up. Heavy fuel map 1 as I'm just leaving it in there and just making a run for these final remaining laps. Just making sure, like I said, that the gap between me and P2 does not exceed 2 tenths. I want to keep it under that 2 tenths. Now it's getting side by side here as we enter lap 29. The jockeying begins. Folks are trying to move up the ranks. They know they've only got a couple laps left. They've been saving fuel. They've been waiting for this moment, and now is that moment. Where will everyone end up? We got 2 lines forming up as we head into the corner. Sparks are flying. It's the nighttime here at Daytona. Ninja Bar trying to decide if he wants to go on the outside there with Lisa Salters. What does he want to do? Where does he want to go? Where you got 3 wide now. You got Lisa Salters way out to the outside. You got Sadoke there on the inside. Lisa Salters right in front of them. Oh, what's going to happen here as we go down through corner number 2? Folks tuck back in line as someone gets loose, goes out wide. Sparks are flying, cars are spinning. We have mayhem here on lap 29 coming out of corner number 2. Vandell goes up into P5. Ninja Bar goes all the way up into P6. We ride with Pop. Rodriguez gets in his corner panel as he hits Quackadilly Bib. And look at Pop save it right there. What a brilliant save by Pop. We lose 2 on that corner. Who was it? Well, first of all, it's Voggs. Voggs is behind Rodriguez. Rodriguez gets the inside of Pop, hits him, and then, Voggs is just along for the ride there. Can do nothing to save that car. Just completely spins out from underneath him. Now, Captain Slowly, our other victim, was in P8 behind Voggs, who lost it. Again, Pop and Rodriguez getting into it there as, Slowly goes into the wall, and then rear quarter panel gets hit. He gets pitted there, not on purpose, obviously, and gets a 4-second penalty boot. Thanks, GT7, for that. Let's one last look. That's why we watch NASCAR's the accidents. We all know that. Look at that. Oh, my goodness, just bouncing off each other. Folks trying to hold it without spinning out. They don't want to crash. Huge gap opens up between the top 4 and the rest of the field as there was a mass collision there on lap number 29. Your lead group now made up of Go Gretty, Lead Sled, Andre Sav, and Quackadilly Blip, a.k.a. Equus Ferrum, the only 4 of the shot to claim victory here on the final lap as we come out of turn number 1. Lead Sled still content with banging on the back bumper of yours truly, heading towards corner number 2. This is where the action is going to happen. I'm on fuel map 2 to keep him close to me. I don't want him to get a huge run on me coming out of the corner, but I get a really hard hit there as we go, and I'm like, no, that is not what I wanted. I fuel map 3, drop it back to 2. I want him right on my back bumper. One more bump. I got it there. Back into fuel map 1. I go to 3 to try and keep him close. Unfortunately, getting into fuel map 1 a little bit late there. He's able to get to the side of my bumper. Now I got to get to the inside, take the tight line. It's Lead Sled. Go Gretty, head towards the finish line, and it is Go Gretty. Oh, no, it is Lead Sled with the victory by 4 thousandths of a second. Let's look at that again. Look at that. There's Gretty. It shows me with the victory, but then the server says, no. Lead Sled was in the lead, and he takes the victory by 4 thousandths of a second. What a finish. I take home P2. Not able to get those back-to-back victories, but I tell you what, that was a heck of a race. Great job there by Lead Sled at the end. Timed it perfectly. I did all I could to hold him off, but it wasn't enough. $5.4 million for running 2 meme races. I will absolutely take that, and I will take the 307 points as well. So, enjoyed the heck out of the race. Hope you did. If you did, hit the like and subscribe. Come back, check out some more of the action. Hope I was able to help you out with some circle track tips or oval tips. If so, like I said, hit the like and subscribe. Come back, check out some more videos. Y'all have a great evening.